What's up, everyone? We've got another awesome episode of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Show. Now, today, we've got Jimothy, we've got Sanctum Squad, we've got Fabs, but we've got an extra special guest. Who have we got today?
Rufio.
I love the little build-up. I loved it.
I love it.
So, you know what, Dan, I'll let you tee this off. I assume you've got some questions and such for Joe to lay on the table.
Yeah, of course, man. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for coming on, taking the time out of your busy evening, especially on this evening of all evenings, which we'll get into later. But first of all, for anyone who may not be familiar with your content, just give us a bit of an introduction to that.
Yeah, so, I'm Rufio. I've made a bit of a channel primarily off the backbone of I like locals, and I kind of wanted everyone to get a look into that. I played with a lot of funny guys who happen to also be very good players for the most part. And yeah, I kind of spiraled from there, and I got a little bit addicted to making content, and here we are, 5 years later, give or take. And yeah, it's only really started to calm down in the last few months, but yeah, that's pretty much it. I make content, and mostly it's rubbish, mostly it's awful, mostly it's potty mouth, but, we're here for a bit of fun, right?
Yeah, of course, man. Of course. So one of the things, because I've been watching you since around 2020, I think, as in being a subscriber. And one of the things that really drew me to your videos was the consistent locals vlogs. It felt like it was a really good way to interact with your viewership, kind of build almost a little bit of a lore around your locals, because your locals Manascrew Gaming is quite a competitive one, isn't it? From what I've gathered.
Yeah, that's one way of putting it. It's pretty silly, and actually, it's calmed down a little bit recently, but it got really chaotic there. I mean, so obviously we've got all of my guys, the guys on my team, the Jam Cards UK guys, which we got a few really good players on our team, and then a lot of the Team Shift guys come down as well. So of course we've got a lot of those coming down, and we've had a few people just pop in here and there that kind of know us. Some of the, the London boys or whatever will come up and drop in. Yeah. Sometimes we get graced by his Lord and Savior JY Sharif when he feels like turning up. He sometimes comes in. Shout out JY, my boy JY. No, he's a good guy. But yeah, no, he turns up occasionally. Just whoever's in the mood. But yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, I think out of our traveling group, let's say us and the Shift guys, and there's a handful of guys that aren't on the team that turn up at locals. We're usually, there's going to be a couple of people take a top at any regional every time, or our group will go, and sometimes it's more. We've gone in, with 4 or 5 tops out of the 8, so it's pretty, none of them me, of course, but everyone else gets to, so that's good. I'm there just cheering them on in the background.
That's sick, man. That's sick. Because that was one of the things I wanted to briefly touch on, because I was watching a depth profile you did. I think you came second at your locals, and some people in the comments it's only second at locals. Because actually if you look on the channel, this locals is probably harder than most of your man's regionals, in terms of the player caliber.
Yeah, it's pretty silly how hectic it can get in there. And I think the other thing that people kind of miss is that not everyone's going to a regional anyway. If you can take a profile that's at locals, that's at decent locals, any half decent locals, even not just. Upload it. Someone out there, it might help someone, and that's really what it's about. For all of the jokes in the front and things like that we get, it's just to help people. People want to take something to their locals, have some fun, and if I can help them do that, if it's a profile and it's a piece of shit that somehow got me a good game going, or a few games, or maybe I had a good run against some really bad people, who cares? Just have some fun with it.
Ask a question. I wanted to know, how do you go about testing with your team? Because I think this is a big thing for myself. My testing is random, but obviously you've got quite a few competitive players that are in your circle, and that's so how do you go about testing, or is it something that you just do independently, or do you kind of get together and deck theory and that kind of stuff? So how do you go about it?
Okay, so I'll let you in on a secret. I don't test ever, mostly because I'm lazy. But I can tell you what the other guys do. So it depends who on the team, or out of our friendship group. I'll expand it to that because. It's not just the guys on the team. So for the guys on the team, when they're up for an event and we're actually wanting to play, because we're all in a kind of similar area, the guys who run the team, the Jam Cards UK guys, sorry, losing my words there. Hemon and Jam, they will arrange for us all to maybe go to the offices, and we'll sometimes do a little bit of testing there. Doesn't last very long, and we normally head out to get food. We're all big boys, and food's the priority here. But we'll sometimes do a little bit of testing like that. We've got people like Artin on the team who are just addicted to the game, and they will play loads and loads and loads of online simulators. I'll let you take your hat, whichever one that is. But yeah, usually they do that. Yeah, Mastodon, of course. That's the one they use. So yeah, they will pretty religiously test on stuff like that. I think a lot of the guys will sometimes play after locals as well, or they'll play before locals. Or if they're in between rounds, they'll just kind of mess and talk theory. But I think really, honestly, the best things you can do is just talk to other good players. And if you can, and you have the time and effort that you can put into it of recording matches, especially your own, and you can go back and watch them. And a lot of the time, people make, it's under the pressure you make mistakes. And if you can go back and watch them, you'll see a lot of stuff you do wrong, which for me is, hell, because I go back through and I'm like, wow, yeah. But no, if you can get the better guys to talk to you, they will tell you stuff like, I honestly, I can say that, I remember distinctly, one region, I spoke to JY, actually, he was there, and I went up to him, and I was like, I did everything right, and, I couldn't have made the better play if I tried, and he's like, okay, what did you do? So I talk him through it, and he's like, something really simple that I missed, he just knows, and yeah, I think really just talking to other people, even if you don't have necessarily time to test, but talking through plays and things like that with people, especially people who will call you out and stuff and go, why didn't you do this? Or you could have done this better, and, that kind of thing. That's for me personally, but yeah, I know a lot of the other guys, they'll usually just try and gather as much as they can. Things like DB, obviously, what most people use, but that's it really from my perspective. I just turn up at locals, I put the deck together and go, I'll maybe do a few test hands, but that's really it for me. But then I have no tops, so, make it that way you will.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you.
I think that's a good point, to be fair, because that was something that me and Tom talk about quite a lot. In terms of like going through your gameplay and stuff. Tom, I think you know him actually. I've seen him do a few profiles on your channel. Top 64 Nats with the Punk Adventurer build. There's something that he's always brought up is like, mate, going through your games, just telling your mates while you're watching, and then to be like, oh, you could have done this X, Y, Z. Yeah, just a lot of different stuff you can do. It's kind of like like how in basketball, there was a player who always used to watch the highlights of his maybe a few players did watch the highlights of their previous games to try and figure out where they could have gone wrong and like what done better and things like that. I guess it's that kind of mentality.
Definitely.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. But anyway, Fabs, what happened today?
Oh, what happened today? Well, I woke up this morning. I had a great coffee. I woke up at like 2 p.m. Watched some movies, and then Tia got absolutely destroyed on the ban list. That's what happened today. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this up on the screen so that we can all look at the glory that is True Elements being violated on the ban list. So we're gonna have a bit of a.
I think there are a lot of different nuances in this ban list that I think people aren't really. Obviously, a lot of people have been drawn to the tiers thing, but I think there's a lot to discuss actually. Like, there's a lot to laugh here.
100%. So let me just quickly get this up, and then you guys can let me know when you can see it.
You know what? I was thinking to myself, like, I wanted to go in kind of blind, but like literally my phone was just blowing up. There was like, this is gone, this has happened. I was like, oh, boys, come on, man, give me a chance. But yeah, we'll see in its full glory, as it were.
So we can all see.
Honestly, once you're in the group chat, it's all downhill from there. It's I'm at work and I just see it all before I can even get home. I'm like, great, sure.
So this is what we have for our True Elements ban list, and I'm actually going to change it up for people who are watching at home so they can see what's going on too, because right now they can just see something that says your stream is still running. But yes, this is the ban list. So I'll quickly run through it, and then I guess we can talk about our thoughts and such. So to start off with, we have Kit Kalos, which has gone down to 0, along with Scythe, Barrier Statue, and Sprite Elf. Then every tier name, apart from Rhino Heart, has gone down to 1. All of the Ishizu cards have gone down to 1, and AFD is getting errated. I'd be honest, I think it's just like, it's a once per turn or something now. I don't know.
Something like that,
yeah. It's not that important, but yeah, these are all at 1. And then Unlimited, Destrudo, Jet Synchron, Olion, Servant of Endymion, Lithosogym, Yatagarasu, and Spiral Resort. So, well, guys, look. I think before we go into the specific cards, let's just quickly have kind of a vote amongst everyone here. Who here is happy about this ban list? And I'll say I'm happy. I'm very happy.
I am super
I'm
happy.
definitely happy
Right,
about
so
it.
You know what? I'm so excited because Joe, you said you're not happy about it, so I want to know. Okay. Oh wait, are you unhappy or is it you're in the middle?
So I don't know. I'm kind of neither here nor there. So
Yeah.
I'll be straight and honest with you. I've played very little in the last few months. When I have turned up, I've
Yeah.
gone, oh look, it's tier elements. Fortunately, at my locals, everyone has gotten so bored of the deck. Everyone hates it so much. Only like 2 people play it, so I don't have to deal with it too much. Now, if I've been going to regionals right now, I would probably have a massive grin on my face.
Yeah, definitely.
So take of that what you will.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good take. Sorry, I feel like someone was about to say something.
yeah, I was just about to say, like, for me, somebody who typically always plays a roguish type deck, like, this is like, quote unquote, the best day of my life.
Bro, I'm telling you. Oh my
Mainly because
days.
I've like it's been a difficult uphill struggle trying to play any rogue strategy, and for me, like, I'm invested in new cards. I love seeing new strategies come out, and it's just been so difficult to try and implement any of them, just because like I just can't play them basically, and just seeing this hit, just reducing the consistency, just allows me to just be able to play some of those decks, to play like, I don't know, Plunder Patrol, to play like Draco Slayers, and have it be effective. So
Yeah.
definitely something that I'm excited for.
Yeah, 100% agree. 100% agree. Dan, what are you thinking, bro?
So, like, I think again, like Joe, I'm in two minds about this ban list. So, like, from my personal perspective, look, I play bad decks. Like, I played Runic since it came out. I'm thanks to Neshi, I'm now fully on the Crystal Beast train. I also tend to one trick a deck for as long as I can. So this doesn't really affect me in terms of how I play because I'm still going to be milling for 3 and what have you. But in terms of like how it affects the meta, yeah, you can't play tier element anymore. Initially, I don't think anyway. And if you do, by God, it's a struggle. Yeah, but I can understand why people wouldn't like this ban list because while tier itself has been meta since July, August, whenever it was Poke came out, I think. I think hitting the Ishizu cards does kind of seem a little bit heavy-handed. Like, don't get me wrong, I understand why they did it because the shufflers were so oppressive to so many rogue decks. But these cards are very new. And there was a lot of different strategies that used the Ishizu cards, such as like the Naturia strategy. There was an Earth Pile in the OCG that could have seen some traction recently. Vernasilf was the other one. So yeah, I think the Ishizu's hit was a little bit heavy-handed, but I understand it, and I understand it. I think the fact that the Bestial's not gonna maybe won't see as much play anymore, because the immediate best deck which comes to mind is Kashtira. Bestials do fuck all to that deck, which means that the only decks that's really going to be playing Bestials are probably going to be branded. Which means that a lot of Rogue gets to come back in now. You know, Burning Abyss like doesn't suck anymore. I can't think of any other decks off the top of my head, but you get the idea. I think it's a very good ban list, and it reminds me almost of, on a smaller scale, the ban list that killed TOS format.
Yeah.
I do think Elf wasn't the right hit though. Personally,
Really?
I think I would have hit Sprint personally, but I don't run Konami, so what do I know?
I'm surprised. Okay, so I guess let's go into that then. Let's talk about the cards though. Why do you think Sprint over Elf? Because I can't lie, I actually think Elf was probably the perfect hit for that deck. Why do you think Sprint over Elf?
So, like, I'm a big fan of Sprite in other decks that aren't Sprite. Like, I think the Tribrigade build's really interesting. I'm a big fan of the Melfi build, or something a bit more casual. The Gishki build is coming out. I understand there's a Marinsas card that kind of does the same thing that Elf does. So I guess that variant's not too much. Yeah, that's the one, yeah. But I think any card that says Foolish Burial on it is pretty broken. But any card that says Monster Reborn is also pretty broken as well. So, yeah.
Do you know what my problem with Elf was, on top of the fact that it was a Monster Reborn and was stupidly easy to make? It was the targeting protection. Like, I really like Imperm. I like Imperm I think Imperm is a mostly fair card. I think it has a couple of tiny niggling issues that make it sometimes a bit unfair in that you can use it and there's basically no way to do something if your opponent's done and blah, blah. But in general, I think Imperm's a fair card. And I hate that it's like my opponent can do something like on my turn summon Tetsudo and I can't target it. I just like lose.
Yeah.
That's what I really. So
You know
that's
what?
that's my problem.
Yeah,
with it.
maybe I am full of shit. Maybe Elf is completely justified.
Because that's the thing. Yeah, like I think Sprint is good, but I think it's just that targeting protection. It's just like an extra. It's like the card is already sick, and then like, oh, I can't even really interact with what you've got on board as well. That was my problem with Elf. I would say why I think it was a good hit. Yeah.
I was gonna say, for me, I'm surprised that Alf even got printed, just because of like I was playing Lyrillus Tri Brigade, and Simorg was basically a bigger Alf,
Yeah.
and they banned Simorg knowing that it was just
Rapidly,
way overpowered, and then printed Alf, and then just kind of said, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
And then I know Simorg summons one out of deck, but Alf has got the ability to play on both players' turns whenever, like on demand, basically. And it's not just necessarily like a level 2; it can be like an XYZ rank 2, and there's a lot of flexibility in it, if you get what I'm saying. So for me, I'm just surprised it even lasted as long as it did, to be honest.
Yeah, that's the maddest thing. They'll bring out IP. They'll use IP and then bring it out again next turn after they summon with it. It's like, what the heck?
It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
That card's just ill, man. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I think we're all in agreement though. The Kit Kalos hit, I think, is fair. I think Kit Kalos is like, it reminds me of Construct, where it's like it's not the boss monster or at least Construct was a boss monster, but it's like it's not the boss monster aspect that made it OP. It's the extension and the kind of play starter aspect that made Kit Kalos just absolutely disgusting. Like, it was so easy to bring out, just does so much. Every effect on that card, like if every single effect that card has, if it was on another card, it would still be a good card. But then it's just got all of the effects on one card. Kit Kalos, absolutely ridiculous. And then
And not to mention being able to like bring it out with like instant fusion, which
Yeah.
is
Oh my god,
for free.
so jarring. Whenever they have you stop everything and it's just like instant fusion. It's like,
Bro, that was going to be terrifying with tasking, next one. That was going to be so... Imagine that, like, you bestial the tier player and they're just like, all right, calm, good job, instant fusion. You feel like a huge mug after that. Yeah.
you feel like
It's as old as time, isn't it? Instant fusion.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Every time you think you got somewhere, instant fusion. Yeah.
Yeah, that was gonna. I mean, yeah, that basically meant instant fusion was back at 4 with tasking. Like, it was nuts. Yeah, and then I think barrier statue. I like the barrier statue hit as well. I think that should have been hit ages ago. Just card's stupid.
I've heard people say that it's like a preemptive hit to Kashtira because some people were playing that Raid
Arsenal
Raptor thing. But
Falcon, I think.
that's the one. But that's cope. That's not a Kashtira hit. That just makes Flunder more fun to play against. Because I don't think Flunder's like an inherently horrible deck to play against. Like, yeah, they're Norsemen and all the time, kind of annoying, but like it's the barrier statue that annoys everyone, right?
Yeah, it was always barrier. Like Flanders, I think as well. One of the things about Flunder is that Flunder generally has the potential to be an interesting matchup for a lot of decks. Like, I say it all the time, and for me, the thing that makes it clear is the mirror. Like, so when I played at Regional, I played the mirror, and the mirror was so fun and interactive because we could both play the game. But the problem is, 9 times out of 10, if you're playing against Flunder, you don't get to even play against it because barrier. And then it's not just it's barrier plus the field spell. So it's like they have barrier, so you can't replay. And then if you do attempt to play, they immediately punish you for playing. That I didn't like. Yeah, and so I think the barrier hit's beautiful for Flunder. I think Flunder's still fine. I don't think they need barrier to be playable, but I think it definitely does make it more fun and more fair, and it's going to be really interesting moving forward.
Actually, Joe, Andre, you guys have both played Flunder. I think I'm the only person here who actually hasn't played Flunder to like some degree. What are your guys' views on the barrier ban?
I'll take it at the start, I guess.
Yeah, go for it.
All right, cool. Yeah, so I think it's fine. I've actually been playing Flunder again. Like I say, I've been kind of in and out over the last, I'll take a few weeks here and there, see the boys, that kind of thing. And I said to the guys, give me a deck. And he went, I've got Flunder, so I'm playing Flunder again. So good timing for this. I'm not really sure how to feel about it. Mixed feelings, because there are some times where you go into a game and you know that barrier statue is the only reason you get another turn. And sometimes you'll open one of those hands because kind of Flu loses to itself a lot of the time.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes just normal summon the statue gives you another turn. So there is an element of that sometimes it just means you're going to lose, I think, some more of those games that you don't really have a right to win. And I'm always a fan of cheesing wins out of people. And if I can tilt someone by just going normal summon statue, if I've got nothing else, that's good enough for me. So I do think there's going to be more of those games that you lose, but I think in general the deck kind of just does what it does anyway, with or without. I mean, after you've got turn 1 gone, a lot of the time you don't have another statue in your deck unless you're playing 2 copies. I know some people have. But I think beyond that, you can still kind of just do everything else you would do. You still make Empen, you still make them not want to, normal summon anything. So it can still do all those other things. It's just you maybe don't get that extra cheesy edge, which actually might make people hate the deck less. But
Yeah, definitely, I agree.
I think for me, like, I was thinking about where's the deck going now. Like, obviously, statue was its identity, and I know that it gave you another turn, but like, it was a big part of why Thunder was so strong. And I started to think, where's it going to go? And to me, it seems like it's going to kind of pivot into a more Floodgate style type of deck, which it was anyway, but just like more so like with regards to like back row. And I was like, I don't know if I really wanted to go down that route with Flunder. But in saying that, like, I think I was talking to you, Dan, before, or I was talking to somebody, and I seen like a end board, and it had like the fire barrier statue, the earth barrier statue, like, and as well as Empen on field. So I was just like, well, like, you still can get there anyway. You know what I'm saying? And you can still buy yourself another turn. So for me, it's a good thing because it's gonna give me an idea of where the deck can pivot to and like what other things that you could play in the deck to kind of like facilitate what it's trying to do. If you get what I mean. But the statue is a big part of its identity, and it's kind of like gone. So I'm just like, I'm not sure.
I would say for Flunder now, I think that's the move that makes the most sense. Like, even though, I saw as well the interesting things people are doing, summoning other barrier statues. The most likely thing is just you start playing Scary Sea now, which is good because that's you guys have a card that you didn't play because of barrier statue. So it's like, I think the most likely move I see is you just play Scary Sea now. And what's nice is the next format, if you look at Kashtira, for example, they have summons that don't start a chain. You want decks that have cards that have summons that don't start a chain. Wonderful sentence by me. I'll congratulate myself. But anyway, and so it's like, Kashtira summon Fenrir. Scary Sea. No, they're not doing anything the rest of the time. That would be my guess. The other thing as well, in case Flunder players don't know, is, and Kashtira player will try and cheat you. If they try and banish one of your monsters face down, it won't get banished face down, by the way. So don't let Kashtira players do that to you because they're cheats. That doesn't work with Flunder. But anyway, moving on. Scythe as well. And as happy as I am about Scythe, I feel like, bro, they were late. This is so late.
Yeah.
It's like, Konami, where the heck were you for the past like 2 years? Oh no, this.
You know what this reminds me of? Do you remember the last ban list? Curious and Mine got banned, and we were talking about that on one of the podcasts. And I was like, this is like one of the. I think I said like this is like one of the only ban lists where Mystic Mine could get banned and like people wouldn't care.
Yeah,
it's feel the same way about Scythe in this one, right?
100%.
It's like I've seen nobody talking about the fact that Scythe's gone. No one.
Yeah, like it's. I don't know. I don't think was there any decks playing Scythe. I'm pretty sure there's like 0 decks playing Scythe in this format or this format.
Trap Tricks coming out, they might, I guess.
And the funny thing is, if you use Artifact Sanctum to Scythe me, I'm actually not upset. I'm not. At that stage, just like you waited a turn for that crap anyway. Like you're probably if a deck has to use Artifact Sanctum to Scythe me, and it's not some cheesy thing in game 3 of a combo deck, then chances are like you're not going to OTK me anyway. So I don't care. Yeah. So definitely a good hit, but a late hit. Nonetheless. But I guess let's go on to the limited. So we'll start with the Ishizu cards. So that's a Guido, Kelbeck, Keldo, and Medora. So in OCG, I'm going to find out the ratios in OCG because I
swear they're all at 1. I could be wrong though.
I think Shiren was at 1, Merly was at 3, I think, and Havnis was at 2.
Yeah, I just realised
that.
On Edo,
but I think
I can see it, so I'll go on Edo.
I do think with regards to like the actual tier elements as well as the Ishizu stuff, I don't know if they could have done it any better in my opinion.
Yeah.
They're still all playable. Mm-hmm. They're nowhere near as consistent, which was part of the problem because sometimes I would play against a tier player and they would mill and the mills would just whiff and it was a great fit.
Yeah.
So now if anybody wants to play Tillaments again, that's just going to happen more often, which is fine because it means the deck's less consistent because of the inherent power of the deck, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
But the cards are still playable, which is the big thing. Like, Kalos is a ban, which is going to hurt a lot of people, but just being able to still actually play the cards is massive, I think, which is probably the right way of going about it because people have invested in the deck. So
yeah, definitely. Just as a quick, so in the OCG, Kelbeck and Medora are at 3. Agido and Keldo are at 1 in the OCG.
Okay, for the Shizu stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so they've got a bet. And then if we look at the tier elements cards in the OCG, Sheeran and Rhino Heart are at 1. Havnis is at 2. Merly is at 3. kit, Kalos is banned. Field spells at 1. So yeah, I would say we've got harder hits than the OCG, because the only thing that we have that the OCG doesn't is we have Rhino Heart at 3, whereas OCG have Rhino Heart at 1.
Yeah.
But definitely, I'd say they're all good. I think what's interesting though is how much weaker. So one of the things I was saying before is that the tier elements are so good into Kashtira because they just don't care. They just make Zeus and Zeus the Kashtira board because they play free of everything. Now, when you've got one of all of these cards, that Kashtira matchup is looking very sad for a tier element player. Like, I don't know what your plan is as they banish your one Havness and one Merly and one Sheeran. It's like, it's looking really sad for you. So, yeah, that matchup gets so much harder for them. I don't even think it's. I don't know. I do think we'll still see some people try and force tier elements. Because, I mean, yeah, why wouldn't you? But it'll be interesting to see how good it actually is. My opinion is that it'll probably end up being kind of like a tier 2-ish deck. I don't think it's completely dead, because just still it's all good cards. It's still 7 good cards, which is enough. Like Sky Striker.
If there's one thing about this game, specifically the TCG, it's that people will cope in it. They will cope.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially when it involves
If they genuinely like the deck, more power to them. Like, if you are genuinely like an avid tier element enjoyer and you're going to carry on playing the deck because you legitimately like it, more power to you and crack on. Like, but it is a bit of a cope. And
I think it's exactly like you just said, Joe. I think it's definitely people like mill decks, people like graveyard stuff, all of that shenanigans. Like, so yeah. 100%.
Yeah, I can see it being part of like a big Light Sworn like sort of mill turbo sort of deck kind of thing. But I don't know.
Yeah.
See you smiling there, Joe. I'm sure I was sitting next to you at a regional and you was playing Light Swans.
Oh yeah, you playing Judgment Dragon Turbo, right? I think I saw the video.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I played. I did 2 regionals in a row recently. Actually, yeah, I say recently. I mean, relatively. I played JD Turbo. I want to say it might have been in Northampton. Maybe Northampton. And then I started getting all these crazy ideas. Oh, I'm sure I can make Light Swarm better. I can make it work. And I did better with JD Turbo than I did with the better version. So make it that what you will. No, I played JD Turbo for Northampton. I think I went like X4 or something stupid. I won like weird games. I had no right. Like I beat Flu and stuff like that, which was kind of weird. But then I'd lose to really bad decks. Like I think I lost to what was the Sacred Beast deck? I lost to that. So I mean, it was pretty good fun.
Wow.
But then I decided to try and play like Punk, and I tried to do the whole like Mill 8 thing, with the vampire guy and stuff like that. And I think I lost every single game up in Liverpool with that. So I got my hometown welcome with an absolute pasting. So there you go. Travelled 4 hours to go lose all my games, but we try again. We love Light Swarm. If we can make it work, we'll try.
I think that's the thing. Like Light Sworn specifically is like one of those decks that I feel like it's got such a cult following, right? Like, it's whenever anything that comes out and it's got an effect in the graveyard, people are going to kind of, we'll mess with this. So I don't think tier elements are going anywhere in terms of like how the player base is going to like it, but in terms of like how meta it is, that remains to be seen. But in my personal opinion, it ain't ever going to be as powerful as it once was.
No way, no. I think, I think the other thing as well that's definitely going to hit is that we have actually received some cards that hurt tier elements as well, like Gravekeeper's Inscription. I think that's the name.
I'm really annoyed about that because I spent more than I would have liked to on a playset of those, and now I'm probably going to decide to never.
Yeah, you just got punished. Yeah,
it happens like that, innit? It gets like that sometimes.
That's how I feel. That I get it. It's a bit frustrating. But let's move on to the Unlimit. So the Unlimits, it's funny because the bans and limits are so like interesting that no one actually cares about the Unlimits. Like I haven't seen one post about, oh yeah, this card's back, my deck's back. It's like no one gives a crap. But it's okay. So it's Destrudo, Jet Synchron, O-Lion, Servant of Endymion, Lithosogem, Yatagarasu, and Spiral Resort. So I guess we'll start at the bottom actually. Spiral Resort, they ain't got master plans, so I don't see what Spiral's doing with free Spiral Resort that they weren't doing before. So I think same with Yatagarasu as well. I don't think that changes. Lithosogem. So I don't know. Are you any of you guys dinos or Earth aficionados that think Lithosogem can put in some work somewhere?
I like my dinos. So maybe pray and hope. I was telling someone actually, you know what? It's a weird kind of tangent, but we're going somewhere with this. So my boss he's like a big Duel Links player. And he was all excited about the Fire True King. And I was like, my guy, I've got a True King to show you.
Yeah.
So I showed him, and he was like, that card's insane. And I started talking him through the combos again, and I'm like, wait, why is this card not played anymore again? I don't really understand. And, I don't know, something about dinos, but there's something about popping two babies that's kind of nice, going absolutely just in. And I mean, the card itself, if you read it, is just ridiculous. Like, it's an insane card.
Yeah.
So I think it's just one of those. I mean, obviously we've got the new dino stuff that kind of has been. I mean, I've seen it doing rounds on Facebook. Maybe interested in
I was
that.
about to say. I think maybe it was unlimited to kind of push that, but dinos are looking. They're looking spicy,
When's that stuff out there? Isn't that like in a year or something?
I don't know what set it is.
Far away. Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. But yeah, I think Lithosaturum's a broken card. How much it does will remain to be seen.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
I think it's a weird one, just consistency wise. I know you can search it. Is it with diagram?
Yeah, diagram. Yeah. Which is that
one,
unfortunately.
But it's having the rest of the monsters in hand to make it like super efficient. I think that's the issue. So I know the new Dino stuff's coming out, which does look really, really good, and that's probably what they're trying to push. But I just don't know how much consistency it's gonna bring to an already kind of like normal summit reliant Dino deck, if you get what I mean.
Ironically enough, if they hadn't have just limited the Ishizu cards, imagine this and the Vernisils and the Naturias. I mean, that would have been some Earth. We would have got some new Earth pile. Like that would have been so good. But it's not doing much at the moment. Definitely. The next one I'm super excited about is Servant. Oh, like I'm not saying that Pend is best deck, but Pend is best deck. So yeah, it's definitely going to be nice to play Servant of Endymion again. And I'll never forgive Konami for hitting it the first time. I think Servant of Endymion didn't need to be hit the first time it was hit. I think Pendulums was like the 5th best deck in that format or something like that. But Konami for some reason decided to absolutely murder it. So
they hate Pens. They hate them. They really do.
Pend is definitely a love it or hate it deck. It's definitely.
I hate it, but like honestly, Electromite can come back. It's fine. At one, at one only. But one's fine.
Yeah.
I don't think Servant needed to be hit. I think it was more of a case of with that ban list specifically, they were trying to actively take out decks that had been consistently like tier 2 because they hit like Diagram and whatever else on that list as well. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Servant could have come back time ago. I don't know why Pot of Desires is still at 2 actually, but whatever.
Yeah. I think with Servant, what I understand from the hit was they wanted Pendulums to have a bit more of an identity in terms of having its own archetypes, because it just tended to be like a pendulum with loads of the best cards from the pendulum archetype, whereas you got like Soulful Chords, you got like Draco Slayers, so you got a bit more of like in archetype pendulum decks, which is probably what they went for. But then the reason people played that is because it was strong. It was strong, yeah. It was strong, do you know what I mean? So I don't know. Electromite would be interesting, I suppose, especially with the cards that are out now. So just having one more broken card is not a problem.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And then I guess the last 3 are Mecha Phantom Beast, O-Line, Jet Synchron, and Destrudo. So essentially, Destrudo is less so, but it's the Hulk. It's the last of the kind of Hulk victims and Auroradon victims and stuff like that. I guess they brought it back. I don't know. I don't think there's anything particularly special that we're doing with Jet or O-Line without Hulk. I don't know. Maybe you guys know Auroradon.
Jet, I think with 3 tune-in, people will experiment with that because it's a 1-card link too, right? That's good.
That's true. Does Jet discard for cost or card effect?
Pass. I think it's cost.
Thinking maybe some trailer shenanigans.
Yeah. I'll look it up now.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing now as well.
But O-Lion, like...
No, it's cost.
Dead.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess going back to the kind of like the Graveyard Turbo Lightsworn kind of decks, maybe there's something they can do there. I don't know. My brain's far too small to think about stuff like that. Yeah. But yeah, it's fine. Destrudo is honestly the only unlimit here that I think, ooh, okay then.
Yeah, I think Destrudo is a good one. I was just saying to Dan before the show that I think Sword Soul is gonna really love having 3 Destrudo because basically means everything is Yazi now. Everything just looks like a Yazi. So I'm pretty sure Yazi doesn't require specifically worms, if I'm not mistaken. Otherwise,
no, it's generic, and it's still searchable with Magnamut if Bystials do come back. So
you know what? I didn't even think about that, but having it be searchable with Magnamut is quite disgusting.
That was what I was doing at the regional we went to last. Cause I was playing Sword Soul Bestial, and you play the one Destrudo because you're like Destrudo. You have your body to make the Yazzie, and then bang, bang, bang.
Wow, yeah. So definitely, I think I think Deshudo's a good card to have back in. I also like the fact that Deshudo halves your life points. I like when my opponent does stuff like that because it means game 3 is they Deshudo. I'm like, yeah, that's calm. Take your time.
Yeah.
Do your whole combo. But yeah,
As a bit of a side, go on.
Oh wait, no, you go for it.
I was gonna say, as a bit of a side note, is anybody a little bit surprised that like Magnum hasn't been touched?
Yeah, I am.
I'll let you go first.
Yeah, go for it.
So
yeah.
You talk. Yeah, so I think it makes sense that Magnum wasn't touched when you consider the rest of the ban list, but I don't know. Again, we'll have to see how it goes. I think Branded is clearly an archetype that Konami have a lot of love for, and I think once that law's fully tied up, if Branded does become like one of the best decks, I think then we can kind of see if Konami will hit them from there, because they didn't hit August until the World Legacy stuff was wrapped up, and I wasn't playing during when all the dual terminal archetypes were a thing, but I imagine it was a similar kind of thing. So yeah, I guess we'll just see. But I guess if you want to play Light and Dark deck, the time is now, isn't it? Like, because people are going to side the Bestial. Actually, I don't know, whatever. Play you on.
We'll see. We'll see less Bestials because the reason why I'm not surprised is while Magnuma is a very good card, I don't actually think it's ban worthy because it's very So like and it's the same reason why I don't think Shifter should be banned and stuff. I think a lot of these cards are very good or seem very oppressive because graveyard strategies are oppressive. And then when graveyard strategies aren't oppressive, they're actually terrible. They're quite myopic in that sense. And so that's why I wasn't surprised it wasn't hit, and I wasn't really expecting it to get hit. And then in addition to that, I don't even think... Yeah, I think people aren't going to play Bestials because people are already going to play Bestials less because of the new Thrust card. And then also because Kashtira is in the format. And then now, obviously, Tier getting slapped up. It's like, why are you even playing Bestials? Like, play DD Crow.
Yeah.
So
I'll be real. The thing about Magnum that screams to me limit it is the search in any dragon. Like, what the heck?
Though, isn't it, right? Like, that's for me. It's like it would be if it wasn't end phase. I would be like, yeah, but it's end phase. That's the same as what's it? That Odd Eyes card. That Odd Eyes Pendulum card, for example.
It's like a Scarm.
It's like Scarm. Like it's a very good effect, but I like that. Essentially, it's saying you are getting advantage, but you're not doing anything with the advantage now, which I think is a fair way about it. And then again, searching 2 Bestials, it's like, I'm sure you've got Bestial. Good luck banishing something from my grave when I'm playing Kashtira. So yeah, I do think it's quite fair and it's quite like I'm okay with Magnum not being hit, and I'll be shocked if it gets touched in the future. But yeah, sorry, carry on.
Going forward, obviously everyone's like, Kashtira is going to be the best deck. What are some decks that you guys specifically are looking for? Not necessarily you think is going to be the best deck, but decks that you're looking forward to playing. Because obviously now we've had like a bit of a meta reset. There's a lot of support for a lot of cool decks coming out, like, Generator, Springans, Plunder Patrol, as Andre mentioned. I'm sure there's more that I've missed over. But like, is there anything in particular you guys are more excited to play now or would consider picking up? Like, doesn't that necessarily have to be like, this is going to be the best deck? It's like, I might actually have a fighting chance with this now. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So, Labyrinth.
Yeah,
that's a good one. Yeah,
I think I'm 2 big welcome Labyrinth away from like just the complete Labyrinth cards for the core, basically. And I'm excited to play it, mainly because of it's a bit of a control deck that I haven't really experienced. I think we was talking about this previously. Like, it's a control deck that relies on monsters. I think somebody mentioned it before. But it does so much, and I think especially with the graveyard now being a little bit unchained, so to speak, you can actually play, because there's a few things that bounce from graveyard to field or to hand or what kind of thing, and just being able to do that a bit more consistently means that you can play the deck effectively much. So I am looking forward to playing Labyrinth and just seeing where it stands with regards to the rest of the meta, because there's always a trap deck in the format, and I think Labyrinth is definitely the trap deck for the format.
Have to agree. What about you, Joe? What are you saying? I know you said you don't get as much chance to play as you'd like to, but like, is there anything in particular that comes to mind that you're going to be looking at messing around with?
Well, I guess now that all of the tier and the Shizu stuff has all been relegated to nothingness, we might be able to like cram that into Lightsworn like we said before. I don't know, maybe have some fun with something like that. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, just have some fun, mill loads of stuff. Hope we hit 3 wolf like the good old days, pray. No, not really. Nothing too crazy for me. I'm one of them. I kind of just take it as it comes, and usually someone will come up with something toxic for me to play, and that's usually what I'll take with me. So I imagine it'll be more of the same. What tilts people this format? Right, we'll play that deck then. Let's go.
I love it.
Pretty much it for me, I imagine.
Fair enough, Jerome. Fair enough. Yeah, I do think a Light Sworn. I hate that we're just calling these mill decks Light Sworn, but
Yeah, that's what they are. That's what they are.
Yeah,
They've taken so much from us. We will take back everything that we can try and just shoehorn in there.
I was about to say, because I saw somewhere that Light Sworn was the most hit deck of all time, directly or indirectly, and I was like, do you know what? Like, I can't disagree with that. Like, you might have had everything taken from you, so you might as well take some remnants back. What about you, Fab?
It never ends.
What are you saying? The average Draco Slayer enjoyer?
You know what? There are so many. I don't think you guys know how many good decks there are. Like, oh my days, I'm so excited. I could probably make a list and it's like 50 decks long, but I'll just say 5 decks. And the fact that I can say 5 should tell you why I'm so happy about this ban list. Firstly, ritual stuff. There's just bare ritual stuff. So you've got Mechanical.
Oh, like with the Mechanicos.
You've got Dogmatica stuff. Even Drytron, the fact that I can probably play that again. So ritual stuff in general is going to be one thing I'm going to be looking at. I'm also very excited to play Plunder as well, because Plunder Patrol's an amazing deck, and I think Jorda's a great card. I really, 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 really want to try Rescue Ace. I don't think it's going to be great, but I still want to try it because why not? And then in terms of meta decks, that is like, I actually think they're probably going to be the best decks. The first one is Branded. I was saying to another mate that it's like the only deck that Branded really lost to is Flunder. Everything else in the format, well, no, it loses to Flunder and Kashtira, but when there's only one like hard counter in the meta for you, you don't really care. So it's like Flunder's not an issue because they don't have Barrier Statue. That was the reason why Branded lost to Flunder. Like, literally, you summon Mirror Jade and then Flunder just loses because they can't out it, and if they out it, they get their whole board wiped. So like Flunder's really free, and then Kashtira just side stuff against them, so that'll be really, really easy to deal with. And the last deck I want to play is going to be Mayakashi. I know that's out of left field. Mayakashi got guys.
The vanity's empty.
Yeah, they got a vanity's emptiness ages ago, and they have a card that basically says if a monster in the banished zone uses an effect, negate it, and it does it up to twice per turn.
Joe, you're looking for something that's going to tilt people. Fabs has got the goo here for you, man.
Mayakashi is sick, and it's like as a mid-range zombie deck, it's good. It just has the traditional issues of zombie decks where it's like their starters are also bad because it's like Unizombie and stuff. But yeah, I really want to try Mayakashi as well. And yeah,
just a quick one there. What does it do about Nibiru?
What is so you know what? Wait, hold on. While Mayakashi doesn't do anything against Nibiru, it's the kind of deck that doesn't care, because the way it works is basically all of their monsters are vanillas.
You've thought about this. You've really thought about this.
All of Mayakashi's monsters are vanillas, but they have a lot of cards that say special summon from grave, and then when you special summon the zombies from grave, that's when they get their effects. So the idea is that your opponent nibs you and you're like, alright, calm, and then you just carry on. And also Daki just keeps coming back anyway, so yeah.
So hold the nib until the end of main, right?
Basically, I mean, the way you really beat Mayakashi is just like, Ash. Then they lose. Yeah, I don't think there's a way to play around Ash or Impa in Mayakashi, so you don't even need to be as complex as Nibiru. It's quite straightforward. But yeah, I definitely want to play them as well. Yeah, so that's for me.
Yeah, I think it's going to be such an interesting format coming forward. I think going back to the last little bit of Banlist talk, just a friendly reminder: Konami is a business.
Yeah.
Like, if you're upset because you've had a deck for 6 months and it's gone, unfortunately, that is kind of just the way it goes. In terms of meta, I think anyway. If you guys think I'm wrong there, like, feel free to like. Yeah.
I think as well, in general, there isn't actually, like, if you even look at tier being hit, for example, like, if you're a tier player, I don't even think you deserve to be upset because you've actually had your deck for a long time. It's just gotten better and better and better. Like,
the
issues.
Is what I'm saying about the Ishizu hits, though, right? Like, they're the only new bit.
Yeah, and it's like even the Ishizu cards as themselves, they're not really a deck. Like, none of the decks that play the Ishizus are dead because of the Ishizu hits. Tier would have still been alive if it had the tier cards as well. So it's like, if you look at the other decks that are playing the Ishizu, like Nichiria is still fine without the Ishizu cards. They were only, funnily enough, the main reason they were playing them was because of tier. They didn't really have to play them. So it's like...
Yeah. Like, so that's nice that there's a lot of milling right anyway, so...
Exactly, yeah.
Like makes sense.
They'll be fine. So I don't think... I don't think it's wrong. And I think...
I know what you're saying about... I was going to say, I know what you're saying about a business. I think it's interesting that Konami has left the majority of the tier elements monsters at 1, which leaves the door open to like Tillemans Kashtira and what that could potentially look like, because it's you've got another. I can't remember which one it is. It might even be Kashtira Tillemans, the new card that banishes and mills.
Yeah. Level
Which-
7, I think it is.
Yeah,
I think they're all
yeah,
level
yeah. I think one of them can treat is a level 4 that can treat itself as a level 7. But I think they've done that intentionally to try and get people to kind of like experiment with like a crazy build, and I do believe that's probably what we're going to see, because as it stands by itself, I don't think Kashtira's as oppressive as Tillemans. I think there's clear identified ways to deal with the
They
deck.
died to
And
Raigeki, bro.
yeah, it's linear as well. So you know where the deck's going, and it's just gonna make some XYZs, and it's gonna try and lock his zones out. All right, cool. Book of Eclipse, no problem. Do you know what I mean? So I think they've done that intentionally just to try and entice players to say, you know what, buy this, build this, and see if it works. And I think that's why they've left the tier elements off the list.
Just as kind of like a closing point on the ban list from that, we've all played against the Shizu tiers here. What was the worst thing about playing against the Shizu tiers?
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
It was the recurability, right?
Oh my gosh, it's like you imagine getting dwellered one turn and you're like, okay, I've managed to survive 2 turns, and then they're like, Medora, put the dweller back, and then they do it again. It's like, for rip's sake.
Yeah.
I think
If
for
you're
me,
worried about, go on, Jeremy, go on.
I was just gonna say, I think just playing on your opponent's turn 1, I thought that was ridiculous. You get the chance to go first, and then your opponent says chain Havness, and then you're sitting there watching them play, and it's your turn. That's
So jar. At least with Fluunderies, they can't do that on your turn 1, innit?
As long as you don't
Like,
normal
they
summon, yeah. Oh wait, yeah.
So annoying.
Yeah,
bro.
that hurt a lot, man. And then just seeing them end with like 2 fusion monsters and then like 5 or 6 cards in hand, and it's like, yeah, you can carry on. And then they've got interaction. Like, nah, I just want to flip the table. But yeah, that hurt for me. Just to playing on turn 1, that was the biggest thing.
Any final words on Tears, Joe? Or
No, I think that pretty much summed it up right there. Just not playing against the same deck over and over again is always nice. And yeah, again, like you say there, your opponent playing on your turn when it's turn 1 is kind of taking a piss a little bit, but
it really isn't.
yeah.
Oh, actually, sorry. On a side note, the fact that it put so much shift in the format as well, that was annoying.
Oh, yeah. That's a very good point. Yeah. But anyway, getting on to some more positive stuff. Fabs, you're off to YCS Leon this weekend, right?
I am indeed. Wait, so who else is here? Who else is anyone else here going, or is it just me?
Nah, I'm not going. Not going.
Do you know what's hilarious here? So, okay, as anyone who has talked to me about Yu-Gi-Oh in the last like 6 months, I've not been enjoying the game at all, and I did not want to go Leon because I was like, I'm not having fun. Like, this game is trash. Like, I don't play Yu-Gi-Oh right now. I play League. I play Elden Ring. These are the things that I do with my spare time, not Yu-Gi-Oh. But when I saw this ban list today, I was so happy. Now, even though Leon is not new ban list, I'm still so excited to go. I can't lie. I feel like it's going to be such a fun event. I'm very tempted to do something just mad for the main event now. I'm just like, it's like the format's over. Just pick something crazy and go absolutely nuts. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I'll see what I decide. But right now, before it was a definite I'm playing tier. The other thing was, I feel like it would be the biggest L in the world to like invest money in like the Kashtira field spell and stuff.
Bro. Yeah.
And then tiers getting hit. It's like, what's the point? I'm so glad I didn't bite the bullet. But yeah, so yeah, I think Leon's going to be very, very, very fun.
I think the side events, like the Time Wizard stuff and Edison and whatnot at Leon and the Speed Duel events, I think specifically because this format is now dead, I've got a feeling them side events are going to be popping. Because I think a lot of people are going to be like, fuck it, like I'm here, I want to play this format, it's dead. I might as well, normal summon a... I don't play Edison, I don't know what any of the normal summons are, but you get what I mean.
Alistair.
Like this thing I can see myself, for example, like I was even saying before, funnily enough, that my plan was to just do side events and try and get like a giant card or something. So it's like, I might go for that, but it'll be really, really interesting to see what happens at Leon. I'm surprised though, because I would have thought Konami would have either tried to do this ban list early enough so that it was relevant for at least some of the YCSs, or kept it to completely after the YCS season. I feel like making it so that, for example, this YCS isn't under the ban list, but then Vegas is going to be under the ban list, it's just a bit weird. So it's like I'm a bit surprised that Konami went that way.
It must be jarring.
Yeah, like if you're a top tier competitor, if you're like one of the Joshua Smiths or something, I'm sure it's very frustrating. Where it's like, oh, now I've got to make 2 whole decks for 2 different events, like in the same 2 weeks. Yeah, it's a bit tiring. Yeah.
I don't think there was a perfect time for it, but I do feel like the local scene was suffering a little bit because of the tier 0 status of the game. Like, I wasn't in any particular hurry to kind of get to locals. I made it to a few, but like, I knew what I was gonna go up against. So I was just like, you know what, I'll just stay at home and play my Xbox. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, and people are making that decision, and then you're getting like 6 people's at locals, and just like it's not happening.
100%,
So
100%.
Yeah. Is that something that you've been experiencing, Joe? Like, I mean, I know you said you weren't playing too much this format as well due to X, Y, and Z, but was it a similar sort of thing around in Manascrew, or?
Yeah, so I think it's been more or less the same, which that's why I said it was quite funny when I came back. I think I played my first locals back last month, since maybe September. And I went in expecting to play loads and loads of tier, and as I said, I think everyone had kind of made the conscious decision of we're just not fucking playing this deck because nobody's enjoying this. A couple of the guys in the room maybe were the guys who are still going to like regionals and just kind of want to keep the skill set sharp. But yeah, I think this is like one of the sad things about formats like this. There's no real good way to cut it because when you get a format where there's a defined solve top deck, it really rewards skilled players because they know those decks inside out. They'll win those mirror matches. For people like me and people who just mostly go to locals, go to the occasional regionals or big events just for fun, it's kind of jarring because you're like, I can't play any of these bad decks. So I don't want to go toe to toe with you on skill. I don't have time and effort that I can put into that, and I think that does get reflected really, especially at locals level, because you'll probably find if you go to regionals, it's still just as competitive, if not more people turning up for stuff like that. But at local levels, you suffer. And honestly, I think Konami makes more of people turning up at locals and buying casual-based product and that kind of thing. If I was to take a guess, I mean, it would make sense. So it's definitely, I think, our locals has been a lot quieter, I would say. We're maybe getting, 15, 20 people, whereas before we maybe get 30 or something like that. So, and a good portion of those people that aren't turning up are the competitive players, weirdly enough. But it's because they turn up and there's not really anything to play against. They're just, they're going to play the same 3 people every week because they're the same ones who are going to win all their games. So, yeah, I think it's weirdly affected everyone, but yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think the format is kind of headed. Well, we'll see where the format goes, isn't it? So, in terms, I was going to say, Fabs, is it that time?
It is that time. I have. So, in case you guys don't know, I do this session called section called "Am I the Arsehole?" where I read from "Am I the Arsehole?" on Reddit. One of the scenarios they have, and this one I think is quite funny. So, I don't know if funny is the right word, but I'm going to read out for all of us. So, right, am I the arsehole for refusing to go to my grandparents' house because there's nothing to do over there? Okay, so this is written from the perspective of a 16-year-old young man. I've been refusing to go over to my grandparents' house simply because there's nothing to do over there. Background: for my whole life, my parents were split up, and I would stay over my grandparents on school days and my other parents' house on the weekends. Until a few months ago, I decided I wanted to stay at my other parents' house on school days and my grandparents' house on the weekends, which means that I had to switch schools and bring all my stuff with me to my parents' house, which is like my console, my VR headset, and a PC. Now, lately, whenever my grandparents invite me over for a weekend, I decline because there's nothing to do over there. I should also mention it's winter and they don't want me going outside. I feel really bad, but I don't want to waste my weekend doing nothing or being on my phone. What do you think? Is this kid an asshole or not?
Yeah, the kid is a fucking asshole, man. Well, let's break it.
Yeah, that's what
Can I just say here, actually, I'm on this kid's side. I'm going to call it out. I'm on this kid's side. The grandparents are the arseholes.
Let's break it down.
Let's quickly go around and see where everyone is. So I'm in the middle, but more leaning on he's an arsehole, but I'm in the middle. What about you, Dan?
So, like, the thing that's making me think this kid like is a bit of an arsehole is more time. This kid's going on about fucking, what has he got? A VR headset, an Xbox You're telling me this kid ain't got a handheld?
Yeah, I guess not. Yeah.
Like, surely if you're that hard up, like, it's just. In fairness, like, it must be annoying being 16 and going over your grandparents when you want to be doing other things that you want to do when you're 16. I do get that, but to bring it real and like, you grandparents, they're not going to be here forever, bro. Yeah. Like, and again, I don't know what my man's relationship with them is, whatever. If he doesn't get on with them, then whatever, like, do you? But
I'm just gonna put it
yeah.
out there. I think he's an arsehole, man. I'll be honest. VR headset and all, he's an arsehole.
So
Like,
I'm just saying, like, Andre, Joe, you guys are both fathers, so like
Yeah.
maybe you can come at this with a bit more nuance than me, as like a person who has no children. So what you saying then, Andre?
so I'm not gonna go out there and put it on a limb, but I'm old-ish, kind of. I know I don't look it, but I'm at the stage where when I used to go to my grandparents' house, there was enough for me to do. It's just whether I wanted to invest my time into doing that. And I think elderly people you can like get so much out of if you just change your perspective. If he's telling me about VR headset and his PlayStation, his Xbox, you can see where his mind's at in it. It's not going to be on having a conversation. It's going to be like sitting in his room, communicating with his
Wants them
friends.
V-Bucks, bro. Wants them
It's not
V-Bucks.
playing sports, you know what I'm saying? But like my grandparents taught me how to do drafts and like chess and that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
And
yeah, dominoes and all that.
Yeah.
it's not something that I'd normally be doing, but like now I've got those skills, I can teach to my children. Do you know what I'm saying? So like I'm playing chess with my children now, and I'm like, your nan taught me how to play this. Do you
It's
know what I'm
interesting,
saying?
isn't it?
Mm.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
Like,
it for me, it's just a lack of imagination. Like I grew up in an era where we didn't have like internet that as it stands today. So
yeah.
I'm kind of an old school mindset in that respect. But yeah, he's an arsehole anyway. I'll tell you straight. If I see my head locking,
What are you thinking, Joe? What are you thinking?
All right, so okay, maybe I was a little bit. You've kind of turned me a little bit here, but no, do you know what? I can actually see both sides of this. So, there's part of me that I think you made a good point there. Does he not have a handheld or something? Maybe take a Switch with him. That's what I do because I'm antisocial as fuck. So when I have to go to family gatherings, I don't want to do anything. I just take my Switch with me and go, I'm gonna just do this and I'll chat with you in between. That's fine. And most people are okay with that. They know what kind of know where I stand with that. Grandparents is a difficult one. I think I do value family time definitely more since I've had a kid. So I kind of get that a little bit. But also, when I was 16, what did I want to do? I wanted to be with my girlfriends and certainly not a VR headset. I think this
Girlfriends,
kid
my
needs to go to a
gosh.
fucking basement. If he said to me maybe that he was going to see some girls, I might back him up a little bit or something.
Yeah,
But
to be fair, if I was a
VR
16-year-old
headset?
with a VR headset, I don't think I'd be leaving my house.
He's looking for those 2D waifus. That's what he really wants to get down to business with.
My
But,
man's
I
out
mean,
here trying to find out best girl.
he could take that with him. He could take that to the grandparents' house. They may look at him a bit funny, but okay. But there is also an element of I do value my free and spare time, and but that's probably more of me as an adult. So
Yeah.
I think maybe he should just wait until he's an adult, and then he can have a fucking opinion. So yeah, go back to being a kid. Do what you're told.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'll let
Just
you
to
go
expand
first,
on my
then.
point a little bit before you, because I understand I've waffled on a bit. Like I used to go around my nan and granddad's a lot. Like when I was younger, when I was probably not too much younger than this kid, to be fair. When I was like 13, 14, and like it's cool to like Andre said, see that different way of life. You learn a lot of stuff from an older generation, and just because someone's old, it doesn't mean like, oh, you're boring as fuck. Like, oh, you're gonna tell me about the war. Like, they can teach you how to play shit like dominoes and chess and like whatever else is interesting, and like teach. They want to interact with you. They want you to sound like their family that want to spend time with you. Cherish that, man.
Yeah.
But Fabs, go off, King.
So I am leaning more on he's the arsehole, but I have a very understanding mind towards him, is the way I'd put it. I think I'm really immature. I don't know, you guys don't, but I think I'm really immature, and I think I find it really easy to see the perspective of people at that age. And so, on one hand, I understand the notion of it's his grandparents and all of that. So again, I do think he's the arsehole here, before I go on my tangent. Yeah, I understand the notion of it's his grandparents and spend time, but when you're at that age, you need to understand it's just hard for a 16-year-old to think long term. It's hard.
It is.
And so I would never trust a 16-year-old to make the best decision for their life. And the sad reality of that was the first thing that I thought as well. I can't remember who said it, but it's like, they're gonna die soon. They're actually going to die soon, possibly in the next 5 to 10 years. Yeah, I'm not trying to wish a bad thing on them, but it's the likelihood. And so it's like, as you don't go, it won't hurt until later on. It's not until like that's one of the things that happened to me so much, that so many things my parents said when I was young, I didn't listen to, and then it's I got older and I was like, oh my gosh, why didn't I listen? To the extent where it's literally, I say it all the time now, even now where I am in my life now, if my dad tells me to do something, I do it. I don't argue. Even if I know he's wrong, I will still do it sometimes, just for the virtue of the fact that chances are the logic that he used to arrive at his incorrect conclusion will be better than the logic I'm currently using. So chances are he's probably still right. So it's like, I'll still do it. And so because of that, it's like, even though he doesn't want to go, I would take it upon myself as his parent, for example, to say, I know you don't want to go, and I know you're going to squeeze your face while you're there, and I know you're upset, but I'm going to force you to go, because that's my responsibility as the parent, to be the bad person. But I don't see it as a bad thing that he doesn't want to go, because I don't expect him to see it as a bad thing. He'll realize it when he's 20, when he's 25, he'll realize it when they're dead, basically. And then it's like, wow, I wish I did spend that time. But
like,
yeah.
Run it back though to like this scenario. He went over there before, right? And he didn't have a problem with it.
That was when he used to live there, basically. So he used to live there. Basically, he used to live there during the week and go to see his parent on the weekends. He switched it up, and now they sometimes want to see him on the weekends, and he doesn't want to go. And it's like,
he's clearly got a good relationship with him, isn't it?
He is, but he's bored. He's 16, and it's like, look, don't get me wrong. I like board games, but let's not tell lies. Elden Ring is much more fun than Dominoes. If you say if you try and tell me it's not, you're lying. You're definitely lying. So it's like, I can understand. Like, yeah, I don't want to go on the week. Look, I'm an adult now, and I don't visit my family that often the weekends because I'm playing video games. So it's a bit hypocritical for me to turn and say he should. But that's what I'm saying. I see that as his parent. That's the job of the parent, isn't it? To be the bad guy and say no, but you're going. Yeah, and it's not even. As his mum, I wouldn't. It's not even a discussion. It's like, why are you here? If you stay, I'll break your VR headset. If you're still here, you better get on the bus, bro, and go and see grandma and granddad. Yeah, so that's my perspective on this. But yeah, I understand.
Out of curiosity, does this guy not have a phone?
Yeah, he does, because he said he doesn't want to be on the phone all weekend. But he doesn't want to be.
I was going to say, just take the phone with you, right?
Again, it's the funness. I mean, you can't compare playing like Vampire Survivors and stuff on your phone to playing like, I don't know, playing like League or something on the PC. It's like, it's not even comparable. So it's like, again,
you mean he can't just play Duel Links on his phone all the time?
You know what, you're right. He should, just play Duel Links or Master Chief on the phone all weekend.
Or Crystal?
Yeah.
That's kind of fun.
This kid is best world, man.
He's young. That's my perspective. He's young, and he'll regret it later on when his own kids don't want to come and see him. That's when he'll regret it. Yeah. But anyway, guys, with that, we're going to close off this episode of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Show. Thank you all for watching. Thank you so much, Joe, for coming on the show. So do you want to give any shout-outs or anything for the audience?
Oh, I suppose I should. Shout out to the boys, Jam Cards UK. They're my team, my sponsors, all my boys. Shout out to Manuscript, the locals, of course, been mentioned ad nauseum in this. But yeah, good locals. And if anyone's ever in the Northampton area, definitely check it out. Most of the time, it's pretty good. Again, bit flat at the moment, but where isn't? I guess that's it. Probably. I'm sure I missed someone, but fuck them. They didn't come into my head, so they must have missed something in my life. I don't know.
Lovely. All right, no worries. Thank you for that, Joe, and we'll talk to you all soon. Peace, guys.
Peace out.